Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted destination for critical updates on the Iraqi dinar and broader global monetary developments. In today's coverage, we examine the unfolding chain of events that signal an accelerating path toward the long-anticipated revaluation of Iraq's national currency. With both domestic reforms and international pressure converging, the current financial landscape suggests we may be entering the final stage of a transformation that's been over 2 decades in the making. A vital turning point lies in the upcoming visit of a Kurdistan regional delegation to Baghdad this Sunday. Their objective is to implement a critical agreement concerning oil revenues and salary distributions, an issue that has long impeded both internal stability and broader economic functionality. This agreement goes beyond resolving regional disputes. It underpins Iraq's ability to function as a unified economy, a vital condition for any shift in its currency status on international markets. In sync with these political maneuvers, well-known voices in the dinar investment community, like Frank 26, are pointing to a larger, coordinated global movement in play. Frank noted that although his primary focus remains on the dinar, the broader story began when former President Trump assumed office on January 20, 2017. His economic policies challenged foreign currency manipulation and called for parity and fairness in relation to the US dollar. This wasn't solely directed at Iraq, but part of a worldwide stance toward currency transparency. For over 20 years, Iraq has leaned heavily on the US dollar for nearly all financial activity. That chapter now appears to be closing. Another respected commentator, Marazi, has revealed that, according to his sources, Iraq is preparing to incorporate the dinar into an international basket of currencies. This would end its peg to the dollar and instead let it float on the strength of market demand, mirroring Kuwait's successful monetary strategy. Decoupling from the dollar gave Kuwait economic sovereignty and investment appeal, a path Iraq seems poised to replicate. This evolving momentum is supported by insights from Mint Goat, who reports that based on credible sources within Iraq's central bank, efforts to regain financial independence date back to 2011. Despite changes in leadership and global circumstances, the core vision, restoring Iraq's rightful place in global finance, remains intact. From restructuring the banking system to repairing economic damage, Iraq's long-term strategy is beginning to materialize. Even with shifts in policy direction post-Dr. Shabibi, the blueprint to reintegrate the dinar into the forex landscape has endured. Frank 26 also addressed another question frequently asked by investors, whether there are other currencies worth monitoring. His response was clear: yes, with the Vietnamese dong being a major candidate. Vietnam, facing new U.S. tariffs and shifting global dynamics, may soon undergo similar monetary reforms. According to Frank, both Iraq and Vietnam are examples of a broader economic reset in progress, one that aims to revalue and previously undervalued currencies. Adding to this evolving narrative, Claire, an established analyst in this space, highlighted that U.S. policymakers are applying increased pressure on Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. Republican Congressman Joe Wilson recently issued a stern warning that Iraq's oil revenues held in U.S. financial institutions could be frozen if attacks on foreign oil companies in the Kurdistan region are not curtailed. His statement, "Do not expose yourself to dire consequences," underscores the leverage the U.S. still exerts and the delicate balancing act Iraq must navigate. This geopolitical tension is directly tied to Iraq's desire to reclaim financial control and move away from its dependency on the dollar. The present structure, where oil revenues are channeled through U.S.-based systems, is a holdover from post-2003 occupation-era policy. Reversing this dynamic is not only a financial pivot, but also a strategic assertion of national sovereignty. The convergence of diplomatic action, internal reforms, and structural economic changes signals a watershed moment in Iraq's monetary evolution. With Kurdistan's cooperation, international scrutiny, and active reform measures from Iraq's central bank, a revaluation scenario no longer seems hypothetical. It is rapidly becoming a real possibility. These overlapping developments represent far more than bureaucratic steps. They indicate that Iraq is reaching a culmination point in its 20-year effort to establish economic self-governance. Revaluation of the dinar in this context is not just about changing a number. It's a larger shift in global trust, power dynamics, and Iraq's capacity to operate independently of foreign financial systems. Should the dinar officially join an international currency basket, it would mark a bold declaration of confidence in Iraq's fiscal integrity and its readiness to engage on equal terms with global markets. Community leaders like Frank 26, Mark Zindgo, and Claire remain closely engaged, providing daily updates that strongly suggest the revaluation effort is no longer speculative. While some may feel disillusioned by past delays, this moment is distinct. It's being driven by more than hopeful anticipation. It's backed by diplomatic warnings, concrete banking reforms, and visible movement on Iraq's parallel currency market. According to Nuound guru militiamen, many investors are exhausted after years of similar-sounding updates. However, he stressed that those feeling worn down may not be current with the latest data, which now carries substantial weight. What we're seeing today is a coordinated effort that involves more than Iraq alone. The entire globe is experiencing monetary pressure, and Iraq's re-entry into the financial system is a vital component of this broader transformation. Frank 26 emphasized the ongoing convergence of events, policy shifts, international diplomacy, banking recalibrations, and internal stabilization. He described this convergence as a collision course likely to result in a recalculated exchange rate for the dinar. The black market, long a disruptive factor, is now showing signs of serious decline. Reports indicate that the parallel rate has remained at 13.97 for 2 consecutive days, very close to the official Central Bank of Iraq CBI rate of 13.10. This narrowing gap is not coincidental. It's a direct result of policies implemented by the CBI and signals growing stability and readiness for the next phase. Guest analyst George added personal insights from his visits to various banks, noting that while most financial professionals still avoid commenting on the Iraqi dinar due to its speculative classification, they're more comfortable discussing the Vietnamese dong. This difference in openness speaks to varying risk profiles. While the dinar remains speculative, the dong is increasingly seen as a currency on the edge of reform. Heightening the sense of urgency is a report from Nuound intel source FUNU, who shared that SWIFT, the backbone of international banking communications, may begin transitioning to the Ripple ledger using XRP as a bridge currency. This change, expected at 3:00 AM on July 18, 2025, could reshape how global payments are processed. Paired with the ISO 2022 messaging updates that went live on July 14, many financial institutions have experienced operational strain, hinting that deeper, systemic financial shifts may be underway behind the scenes. Back in Iraq, Advisor C appeared on national television to praise the central bank's performance, stating that were it not for external regional tensions, the parallel market would have already aligned with the official rate. This comment, shared by Frankie 26, further supports the idea that the central bank is executing a deliberate and structured plan toward revaluation. The visible erosion of the black market is a measurable result of policy, not luck. As the gap between official and unofficial rates narrows, Iraq inches closer to the thresholds necessary for a full currency float. Every development, from Kurdistan's cooperation to U.S. diplomatic pressure and banking reform, points in the same direction, forward. Investors paying attention will note that this isn't just another speculative wave. The foundational blocks for revaluation are stronger than they've ever been. Still, a word of caution: none of this constitutes financial advice. While the signs are compelling, the process remains politically charged and inherently unpredictable. Investors are strongly encouraged to perform their own due diligence, consult with licensed professionals, and weigh all risks carefully before making any decisions. This journey has been long and at times frustrating, but Iraq's monetary course now appears clearer than ever. As the dinar edges closer to re-entry into international markets, what was once dismissed as theory is fast becoming reality. Stay tuned to Iraqi Dinar News for more updates as the story continues to unfold.